So good morning and welcome to another session on corporate governance, module 1, part 2. This is again corporate governance from BUS 4C22, University of Calicut, and myself, Dr. Jacob, is director of Naipunya Business School, who's handling corporate governance during the 4th semester for MBA students. Today in the syllabus, module 1, part 2, we will be looking at corporate governance in various countries such as Canada, US, UK, Italy, France, Germany, Japan, China, and India. And we will also be looking at the corporate governance mechanism and overview of the 4 P's of corporate governance, that is people, purpose, power, and performance. So what is corporate governance in Canada? Corporate governance practice in Canada are shaped by legal rules, provincial corporate statutes, securities laws and rules, stock exchange requirements, and the common law, as well as the best practices promoted by a range of stakeholders and professional director associations, such as the Institute of Corporate Directors, ICD. So as in India, you would find that, it is being regulatory mechanism is there. Similarly, stock exchange, similarly, security laws, which like India, we follow SEBI and all those things are there. And by different institutes also, like India, we have Association of Chartered Accountants. Similarly, there it is Institute of Corporate Directors. And ACS, we have Association of Company Secretaries. They also have these type of associations also. In Canada, boards must be prepared to proactively address board diversity. That means, the type of people inside a board, qualified people, women, those come under actually board diversity, especially people who have knowledge in finance or accounts. All those comes under diversity. And changes in direct election as well as developments in shareholder engagement. It is also important for boards to be cognizant of the regulatory framework and the structure of cooperative governance that exists in Canada. They should know about the regulatory framework also. In corporate governance in US, it happened after the lot of scams which has happened with Enron, Tyco, and WorldCom, led to actually creation of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in July 2002, and regulations by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, similar to what we have SEBI in our country, as well as stock market self-regulatory bodies also. In the United States, corporate governance guidelines, codes of conduct, and whistleblower procedures are very, very. Corporate governance in UK. In UK, there has been a spate of scams which has happened, and we also have studied about the Cadbury Committee as well as the Greenberry Committee, and based on that, the Financial Reporting Council has come out with certain things. One is like leadership. So it talks about every company should have an effective board. Board committee should have the appropriate balance of skills, experience, independence, and knowledge. They talk about diversity as well as knowledge. Accountability, there should be fair, balanced, and understandable. Remuneration for executive director should be designed, and again, it should be for the success of the company. At the same time, it should be transparent. It should be known to the shareholders also. Relation to shareholders there should be always a dialogue, mutual understanding, dialogue, and even for voting also has been recommended by the Greenberry Committee. Corporate governance in Italy, role of board of directors. Listed company are governed by a board of directors. Remuneration is decided by the remuneration committee. Then there is an internal control system which takes care of the laws and regulations. And appointment of auditors are also based on the reviews by the board. In France, it is followed. It's all based on the commercial code of France and the French the stock exchange also. Apart from that, there are certain laws that organize even certain types of businesses also, such as pharmaceutical or auditor or even banking. And the shareholders' approval are required, especially for annual accounts as well as dividend policies also. In Germany, it follows basically the German Co-Determination Act, Corporate Governance, Corporation Act. And there are 3 bodies in corporate governance in Germany: shareholders, management, as well as supervisory board. So supervisory board are elected by the shareholders at the general meeting. Management board are headed by a chairman, and the supervisory board jointly accountable for the management of the enterprise. And board's composition in entirety covers persons with a wide spectrum of experience and expertise. When we study actually SEBI or the Indian model of corporate governance, you find a lot of traces from the corporate governance from Germany also. Corporate governance in Japan are basically the main bank is the major shareholder, and apart from that, corporate governance code is also there, which should be well balanced in knowledge, experience, and skills in order to fulfill the roles and responsibilities. Board of directors is conditional because they can be removed by the bank at any point of time, and government influence is always through the policies as well as regulations. Corporate governance in China was actually a latecomer to this corporate governance because once it moved from planned economy to a market economy, there were a lot of changes also. And the company law has a governance structure and mechanisms to protect lawful shareholders' rights and public interest. The board of directors is operational. They take care of the entire meetings or even the planning, strategic decisions. And management is responsible for the boards of directors and is in charge of operations and management of the company. Now we will look at what has happened, what is the corporate governance in India. This in corporate governance of India gained popularity, especially in 1990s when the Indian Industry, Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, adopted voluntary measures to come out with certain codes. However, we were based, since we had the British legitimacy, we were following the Anglo-Saxon model. But later in 1992, when the Harshad Mehta scam happened, the SEBI took over the responsibility and corporate rules and regulations was in place. There were two committees also, the Kumaramangalam committee as well as the Narayana Murthy committee, and then other committees like Irani committee and all those things were there. They're all formalized actually the best practices of corporate governance in India. However, with all these things also, corporate governance became a critical issue when Satyam Computer created actually a fraudulent transaction, and there was the requirement for a lot of rules and regulations to be there, because a company like Satyam had already won corporate governance awards also, and then one day the stock market and the investors found that they were actually doing fraudulent transactions. So there was a lot of changes which happened, especially the Narayana Murthy committee brought in a lot of changes, and it became more and more accountable and transparent. So now corporate governance acts as a bridge between shareholders and stakeholders in India. And it is in India, it ensures actually, CG in India ensures protecting the rights of shareholders, ensuring equitable treatment of all shareholders, recognizing the right of stakeholders, ensuring the timely and accurate disclosure regarding corporation, including financial situation, performance, ownership, and governance of the company. Now we will look at what are the 4 P's of corporate governance. The 4 P's of corporate governance is described by Parthasarathy in his book, Corporate Governance Principles and Mechanisms. And practices. The 4 P's of governance are people. People are the heart of any corporate, whether they come as an employee or an investor or in any form, they are basically the heart of any corporate. They may be stakeholders, investors, customers, employees, lenders, suppliers, government, and society at large. Equity and ethics are important as far as any corporate governance are concerned. And equity means actually fair and equitable treatment of all, whether it is a minority shareholder or a majority shareholder or a promoter or maybe an investor, it is all the same. And equitable distribution of wealth also should happen out of corporate governance. When it comes to purpose, organization should have actually the vision, mission, and a strategy, and this should be actually shared across the organization, and every person, including the shareholder, the promoter, the bureaucracy, the employees, the CEO, everyone is bound to follow that. And the management of a company should be clear in the purpose of the company, and the purpose should be communicated across to everyone, all the stakeholders, including employees or shareholders or investors or promoters or banks or whomsoever is associated with the company. And the established purpose should be measurable and actionable, as well as it should be able to alter the conditions of change based on the environmental situation. Process, there should be very clear process also, established, integrated, documented, automated, and maintained. And you should also look at what are the different ways in which organization can be management, whether it is a human resource or supply chain or outsourced or marketing, risk, crisis, all those management also has to be looked into, and internal controls have to be there. Organization has to comply with various regulations by both state, central government, as well as bodies also, independent autonomous bodies like SEBI or law enforcement also. Whistleblowing should be there whenever things are violated. Definitely, the stakeholder should always have the opportunity to blow the whistle and tell that there are certain bad things happening in the organization. And performance is another one that we talk about. Performance should be measured, analyzed, communicated in order to achieve growth. Performance level should be planned, should be set, and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable should be identified. Performance should be measured. Regular measurement should be there to find out what are the shortcomings, and performance measurement can be fixed on monetary transactions in a company, because ultimately revenue is the main consideration as far as the corporate governance is concerned. So we looked into what is corporate governance as far as how corporate governance from an angle of investors and shareholders and the stakeholders, and we also have found as to what is the type of corporate governance which existed in various countries. The reason why we studied was that to understand from where our Indian corporate governance emerged. And you would find that the traces of Indian corporate governance are found in Germany. It is in UK, started with UK and then with Germany, and then even follows even the US model also. So I hope when you study about corporate government policies of government of India, you will be able to find those traces and you will be equipped to understand corporate governance better in the light of all these countries. So thank you very much for being with me and listening to the part 2 of module 1, and I hope you are clear about this. If you have got any clarifications, you're free to contact me at Naipunya Business School, or you can write to me at hod@mbanimit.ac.in. So thank you very much for being with us.